So I was reflecting this morning on the mistakes I was making, and I didn't like what I realized. And hopefully you will not like what you realize as well, and you will be able to fix it, because I'm going to tell you exactly how I fixed it. And these are 5 mistakes that I found that it's going to be very costly for ambitious people, because you could. When I saw that, I was like, okay, I might not achieve my goals. My life could end up being miserable if I keep not realizing my mistakes like this. And so yeah, I'm going to tell you about these 5 mistakes. It's going to be very useful. And at the end, I'm also going to tell you about a mistake that has to do also with a book that I've been reading, Thinking Fast and Slow, a book on human psychology. And this is a bias that we all make, and is extremely costly and bothering to realize. And then once you fix it, it's pretty cool. So, if you're new here, by the way, my name is Ivaldi Sako. I'm the founder of Overgrowth.com, and here I help ambitious entrepreneurs build a great empire, live their best life. I'll tell you about the mistakes I did, how I fixed it, and basically this kind of stuff, so that you get the lesson without the scar, something like this, right? This is, by the way, I'm not a native English speaker. I'm French, so excuse my English. So yeah, let's get into it. So the first mistake that I realized that I was making is actually not figuring out the root cause. This mistake is very important because it will just get into all those mistakes that you make. So, not figuring out the root cause of the repetitive mistake that you actually do every day without realizing it. Maybe not every day, but like maybe every week, right? It depends. But you continuously make the same mistakes without even realizing it, because you don't take the time to reflect, just like I did this morning. And I didn't do it oftentimes. Usually every week I have an after action report. I took this from David Goggins, and this after action report says, okay, what did I do, what I did not do, how will I improve? But when I say how I will improve, I do not exactly state the mistake that I did with precision, and I do not figure out why I did them. And this is the real thing. You need to figure out exactly why. What is the root, deep cause of this mistake that you did? This way, you will be able to figure out how to solve it. If you don't, oftentimes you will not realize it, but you will keep doing this mistake. And it is very costly to do like mistakes over and over again, because you basically don't learn and you can't improve. And so the results that you're getting right now are going to continuously be the results that you get. And we don't want that. We want to improve the results, right? So to figure out the root cause of your mistakes, all you have to do is just take the time to reflect. Take the time, like a journal, and ask yourself, okay, this is what I did this morning. What were the biggest mistakes I did this week? Once you figure this out, you write them down, and for each mistakes, ask yourself, okay, I did this mistake. When did I do it? This was at this time. This is what happened. To just actually get the circumstance of the mistake and how it happened, and ask yourself, okay, why did you make this mistake? Why? What is the deep reason why you did this? So at first you're going to come up with a surface level reason, right? And you need to dig deeper. And so you ask yourself another time, why? I've talked about this a long time ago on one of my oldest videos, but this is what you need to do. You need to dig deeper by asking yourself multiple times the question, why? Okay, so I'm going to give you the example exactly of with those 4 next mistakes that I'm going to talk to you about. So the second mistake is that basically what I'm going to tell you is the exact mistake I did and the circumstances, and tell you exactly about it. And then I'll tell you, basically when I tell you about it, you will try to think, hopefully, how does this apply to my life, right? If it does that in the circumstance, what can I take from it? Okay, if he is doing this to fix the mistake, okay, I can do this in my life. How does this apply to your life? This is what you need to ask yourself to be able to take a lot from it and actually learn and just apply the solution and just not be making these mistakes anymore. So what I did this week is that I failed on my discipline. I failed on my standard of living. Everyone has a standard of living, right? Everyone has a certain level, a certain baseline with which they're comfortable living their life, right? You are okay when you sleep at 11 p.m. It's okay to you. It's usual. It's the baseline, right? If you get a certain amount of things done in the day, it's okay. It's productive. It's your baseline. It's your standard of living. And yesterday, this week, I failed below that, and I was not happy with this. But I figured out the solution, and this is what I wrote down. So I asked myself, okay, why did I fail on my discipline? Why did I fail on my standard of living? And what I exactly did was that I just slept way later. Like I slept at midnight, and this is insane to me. Right now, it's insane to me. It used to, a year back, it was not insane to me, but right now it's completely like way above my standard. My standard right now is to sleep at 9:30 p.m. Right? This is where I sleep. I'm asleep, right? So this time I failed on that because I did not respect. I asked myself, why? Why did this happen? Because I did not respect the rule that I put myself to cut everything off after 7 p.m. Cut everything off, meaning I don't go, most importantly, this is the main thing, I don't go on the internet. Once 7 p.m. is done, okay, I don't go on the internet anymore. I eat dinner, and once dinner is done, no more internet. This is the rule. And I did not respect this rule. This is the reason why, this is a surface level reason why I did not sleep at the right time. Now, there's a deeper reason. I asked myself, okay, why did I not respect that? Well, because I acted on the curiosity, the little curiosity that I had on the question I was asking myself. Okay, I was asking myself actually, like, can AI do this? And I started looking on the internet, and I was like, I just this little curiosity, I acted on it, just this tiny bit. Like I was like telling myself, just 2 minutes, right? Just 2 minutes. It's not a problem. I just need to figure this out, right? Because this could help me a lot. Right? This could have tremendous benefits. Turns out, the benefits were not as much as the bad consequences that I, suffered because I just slept 6 hours instead of my usual 8 to 9 hours, which I'm going to talk to you about later. And so this is the root cause. This acting on my curiosity. I asked myself this question. I just did this one thing a little bit, and then because I did it a little bit, I went on into a rabbit hole. Right? I completely was distracted, and I didn't have much willpower was completely like, I was done. I was tired after a very big day of work. I think it was the first time that I've worked like 12 hours almost in a row. I ate and worked at the same time, and I was not supposed to do that as well. But I had to meet a certain deadline. And because I've worked so much, I was depleted of my willpower. And when I acted on this little curiosity of mine, on this question, I could just completely lost it. I was distracted, and guess what? Up until midnight. I mean, I was working from 7 a.m. to 7 p.m., and then I continued to be distracted on work up until midnight. And this was not productive at all. This was just distraction. And so the solution to that is just respect the rule and try to increase also. I didn't write this down, but when your willpower is depleted, you can increase it a little bit, because willpower is actual energy. It's like glucose. And so you can increase it a little bit by taking in sugar. And I didn't eat enough or as much almonds, because almonds have a certain amount of glucose, because I don't eat too much sugar, and I didn't eat as much, so my willpower is not even didn't regenerate from all the work that I did during this day. And so this is a solution, but the solution is, most importantly, never go on the internet after dinner is done. And Once it's done, it's done. You disconnect and you don't act on any curiosity, any whatsoever thing that could happen. You don't act on it because it's on long enough time, like it's just not worth it, right? If I did this every single day, I have this curiosity on, like I would not get anything done. I would get so tired of not getting enough sleep. I would get so unproductive, unfocused, and a lot of like my discipline would just be gone. So this is the first mistake and the first solution. You notice how I found the solution? That's how you need to do it. What is the mistake that I did? How did it happen? Why? And ask yourself even why again, right? To figure out the deep reason, root cause of it. Once you find it, you can easily just reverse it to find a solution. You just don't put yourself in a position to make this mistake again. Second mistake. This was a second mistake. Now third mistake. Not learning enough. Now, this might be controversial because a lot of people are trying to learn too much. It depends, right? But oftentimes, if you're ambitious, you're trying to get a lot of things done. And so you have a lot of work to do. If you're spending your time just doing work, you don't necessarily have much time to learn anymore. And it's okay to go unbalanced, of course. At times, I go a lot in learning. I learn a lot. And days like yesterday, I didn't learn anything. I mean, I learned today on the mistake I did yesterday, but I did not really learn from any book. I didn't learn anything, basically, yesterday. Because I'm supposed to read every day. I'm supposed to listen to an audiobook every day, and I did not do any of those things because I was too much caught up in work. And so, a mistake that we often do is not learning enough because you don't have the time, right? Every day, I found out that even like all the week, all my life, I'm just not learning enough. Because the more you learn, the more you earn, right? The more you learn, the more progress you can actually make, and the more skills you can develop. You can just pass through all these mistakes, just like you're doing right now, and get to the right way of doing something, for example. And so if you want to learn more and you don't have the time, this is what I wrote down. So I was not learning enough. This was my mistake. Why? Because I'm short on time. And also, I'm not focused enough when I'm listening to audiobooks, when I work out or when I eat. And so the solution to that is to remember what you're trying to learn. When you're learning, remember what you're trying to learn and how you will benefit from learning more to get your goals faster. So just remember the benefit of learning more and learning faster. Just remember this benefit of like you just cutting your learning curve, literally, like in half because you're learning from other people's mistake. And also, I'm short on time when I learn. Well, I just need to focus on the most important things, the thing that I'm going to learn the most from. And this is not podcasts like this one. Honestly, I'm just saying it does not benefit me, but like if you're listening to this and you're listening to this instead of listening to an audiobook, I think honestly like your time would be better spent listening to audiobooks. Just like I wrote to myself, listen to audiobooks. And only when the workout isn't too hard, like leg days, right? Because I was, sometimes I listen to audiobooks in the gym and I'm working out way too hard. So I can't like focus on what I'm learning. I'm not learning anything. I'm just being distracted. Like I don't understand anything because I'm working so hard. So when I do a stretching workout, for example, I can listen to an audiobook and it will, I will be able to learn from this. When I go on long walks, I can listen to an audiobook. If the goal is to learn and the goal is not to just relax and be able to have this, being free of any distraction and just be present and have ideas come to mind when you're just taking a walk just for this reason, right? Anyway, and so don't listen to, when you don't have the time, don't listen to podcasts, don't listen to videos. Listen just to and learn from only exclusively from books. Like this is people have put so much time and effort to articulate their thoughts exactly to the point so that the book is just amazing. And sometimes they put all their life work inside the one book. There's no like comparison between the time that you spend on a book and the time that you spend on a podcast like this one and the reward that you get from it. What you learn from an audiobook, the time reward is just so much better. An audiobook is just the best way to learn faster, especially when you're doing something else. But a book in general, because it's just so much concise, and this is more thoughts going. Forgive my English. There's been more work put into it. That's it, and so it's a way better deal. And so this is what you do this is what you do when you are short on time and you don't learn enough. Choose the best learning experience, the best deal. Audiobooks, honestly, and books in general. But oftentimes, personally, I take a lot of time to read books. When I listen to it, I can listen faster and I understand better oftentimes as well. Fourth mistake, and when I tell you this, you're going to say, okay, I don't need to listen to that. Please, even if you know everything about the subject, listen still, and I've made an entire podcast on this because it's so useful. And oftentimes, even me, I don't respect it still. Even though I know it, I still don't respect it. So, and I know now the reason why. And I know how to fix it. So, the fourth mistake is to not sleep at 8:30 p.m. This is for me. To not sleep at 8:30 p.m. This is my mistake. I'm supposed to increase my standard of living, right? And I'm supposed to increase my standard of, okay, I don't sleep late at all. I sleep very early to be able to wake up very early and be super refreshed, because sleep is just so and everyone underestimates sleep and underestimates how much better they will feel, how much more productive they would be if they slept more in quantity. And to me here, to be able to sleep more in quantity, I must sleep earlier. Like, I can't get up late. And I found that when I wake up at 5 a.m., it's just like, I'm just so crisp. I'm just so clear-minded. I get things done so fast and so well. I'm just like all in. I get into flow so much more time than when I wake up at 6 or 7. If I wake up at 6 or 7, I most likely I will not get into flow as much as when I wake up at 5. When I wake up at 5, I'm working at 6, like I'm in work. It's just insane. The amount of work and the amount of things that you can get done is insane. And so this is what I wrote down. Why am I not sleeping at 8:30 p.m.? Because I eat too late. Or stay too late after dinner watching YouTube, podcasts, listening to podcasts, or sometimes right now watching Netflix. Because I found that I started watching Netflix again just to be able to relax, because my digestion is messed up and I have a lot of health issues anyway, gut issues as well. And so to be able to relax really when I eat while watching something else distracting my mind allows me to be able to digest better, right? Eat in a relaxed way, because when you eat stressed out, you just don't. I personally don't digest almost at all. Like I'm bloated. I have a lot of issues anyway, and so this was just my justification to just tell you, okay, I watch Netflix, but I have a good reason why. So. Also, another reason why I don't sleep at 8:30 p.m. is because I take too much time after dinner to do all the things I need to do. I have basically a whole routine that takes me about an hour. I need to stretch my hands because I'm injured. Anyway, a lot of things I need to do, and it takes me too much time. So I need to reduce this time. And I'm going to reduce the time on the things that I can actually reduce the time. So for example, my stretching, I can't reduce this time. So what I'm going to do is just focus on eating earlier and making sure I put an alarm also on my phone at 7 p.m. Boom, I'm done. No internet, airplane mode, no distraction at all. Focus on stretching. I go shower and I head to bed. That's it. That's what I'm going to do from now on to be able to sleep at 8:30 p.m. And also I'm planning my in my evening routine. If you're wondering, I plan my next day. I journal also my thoughts, my learnings from the day that I went through, and so I'm going to. The main thing here is that I notice, okay, what is happening around when I sleep, right before I sleep, to be able to know, okay, what can I do to make sure that I actually get to sleep at 8:30 p.m. I haven't been able to do that once. Maybe I got to 8:50 p.m. in bed once, something like this, but that's it. I just I can't get it down, to up my standard, right? It's very difficult, and so I need to be disgusted. To up your standard, you become disgusted by just even the thought of sleeping after 9 p.m. What? Sleeping after 9 p.m. This is completely disgusting to me. I just this is my standard is the bare minimum I can do is 9 p.m. If I go beyond that, it's unacceptable, right? This is how you up your standard. When you feel really the disgust by doing something. Yesterday I was disgusted by myself. You have no idea. Sleeping at midnight, this was way above. And so oftentimes when you go way beyond your standard, the next day you realize that you're just disgusted, and so you go in the other direction. And hopefully this is what I'm going to do tonight. I'm going to be able to sleep at 8:30 p.m. because I'm just going to apply the solution that I found. Next mistake, not taking enough risks. That's the thing. And you might think, okay, no, I take a lot of risks. And this might not be the good thing either. There's some nuance to it. So, not taking enough risks and being risk averse when you shouldn't be. I'm going to read to you a passage from in my notes on the book Thinking Fast and Slow on this subject, because he just does a better job of explaining it to you than I would articulating my thoughts, right? He just put a lot of time in his book, so I'm going to read to you from the book as well. So, my note is that it's a good idea to take risks that have a good upside and little downside, even if you risk losing right now. So, if you really think you're going to lose right now a bet, you're not going to take it. But when you realize this bet could happen, if you take a broader view, right? Trying to get some perspective, not being caught up in the right now, here and there. You can see that if I take this bet in my life, if I'm presented with an opportunity to have this bet, if I take it a lot of time, I'm for sure going to be very profitable on the long term. These bets will compound on each other and make me be able to the best choice would be for me to actually take this bet every single time, even when I lose right now. So I wrote down that if you take the outside view and see on a broader perspective the multiple gambles you can take in your life, the addition of those risks make up for little to no risks when you add them up. And take the broader view of all the bets in a long-term time frame, rather than in a narrow view if just the one bet that is in front of you doesn't work out. To help you do that, you can have a risk policy. For example, a risk policy would be you never take extended warranties, right? Extended warranties, you take every time the bet that you're not going to need it, and on the amount of time that you can take this bet, and on the long term, you would be a lot more profitable, a lot more, you will lose a lot less money if you didn't take this extended warranty on a long enough time frame. And so you can have a mantra like, you win some, you lose some. And you remember this, right? To remind yourself that it's okay to lose sometimes to win in the long term. Think like a trader. This is what the author tells you as well. The outside view and the risk policy are remedies against two distinct biases that affect many decisions. The exaggerated optimism of the planning fallacy and the exaggerated caution induced by loss aversion. Oftentimes, especially ambitious people, we are way too optimistic. We think it's going to turn out the way we want it to be. Oftentimes, it's not true. It's not going to turn out exactly the way we want it to be. And because of this, we make the bad choices, the wrong decisions that lead us to lose a lot more money than we should. And also, because we have a loss aversion in our mind, we just don't want to lose, we end up not taking enough risks that will contribute to us making a lot more money on the long term. And so this, at the end of the chapter by the way, this is the chapter 31, risk policies from the Thinking Fast and Slow, forgot the name of the author, sorry. But there's only one Thinking Fast and Slow. At the end of the chapter, he tells you about, he gives you some quotes that summarize the learnings from this chapter. And so the little paragraph is called "Speaking of Risk Policies." And so these are the sentences. Tell her to think like a trader. You win a few, you lose a few. I decided to evaluate my portfolio only once a quarter. I am too loss averse to make sensible decisions in the face of daily price fluctuations. For example, this is like when you are an investor and you look too much at your, like, traders in general, the more trades they make, the more time they act, the more mistakes they do. And so often the best decision that they can make is just not look at anything and just not do anything. On the compounding effect of this is like makes you more likely to actually be winning. They never buy extended warranties. That's their risk policy. Each of our executives is loss averse in his or her domain. That's perfectly natural, but the result is that the organization is not taking enough risk. So this is very useful, right? This is like, also because of this, it made me think that of the compounding effect of the small actions that you take, right? So actually just put more money to save like every month right now to like have in the long term like a big effect. Right now I'm trying to also be as frugal as possible, not cheap. I don't want to be called cheap. I'm not cheap. I spend a lot of money on business, but I spend it on like carefully on the right things. The things like, for example, I don't. It's been like 4 years, I think, almost 4 years. I haven't gotten a haircut, right? I haven't been to the barber shop, right, to get a haircut. Never, for 4 years. I've been cutting my hair. Right now, let's say I was cutting my hair once a month, which most people do a lot more. I was cutting my hair once a month for $20, right? For like 10, 30, 40, like let's say like 40 month. I should have spent like $20. 40 times 20, that's $800. Like I saved $800 just not cutting my hair, and honestly, to me, I gained time. Like I didn't waste time to go there, to come back and have I never really liked going to, have someone cut my hair, so I did it myself. And now I have a slightly better haircut right? Even though it's not great, but I spend a lot less money and less time. So these compound, and so right now I save a lot of money compared to someone. Now, I saved $800 because I already didn't go too much to the hair, like to cut my hair. Some people go there once a week. Like this is like you could save $2,000, right? In 4 years, $2,000. That's that, right? And a lot of subscriptions as well that I didn't really use, right? Spotify subscription. I was like, right, I want to listen to anything I want whenever I want without ads. Well, actually, you know what? Ads is marketing, and I always loved watching ads on YouTube. Honestly, I oftentimes watch them in their entirety, depending on how long they are. But like if they're 1 or 2 minutes, I watch them in entirety to just actually learn. And so I was like, why spend $10-12 a month for Spotify subscription when I can just listen to the ads, learn, and actually listen to podcasts? Because the thing that you can do is listen to music anyway. I'm getting ahead of myself. So right now, you have the keys to not repeat these mistakes, right? You have the keys to not repeat any mistakes, for that matter, because you now know how to fix it, right? So please, right now, ask yourself. It's really important. It's very important that you actually just take account of the mistakes that you're making, right? Make the time. Put it in your calendar right now. Tomorrow at this time, I'm going to review the biggest mistake I made this week. You're going to try to think, okay, these are the biggest mistakes I've made. Why? Okay, now I know why. What's the solution? Here's the solution. You just reverse it. The solution, once you find the cause, is very obvious. So you just find the solution, and there you go. You just apply it. You just put in action what you wrote down, and that's it. If you like the show, consider subscribing and share it with a friend it might help. That's it. I'll talk to you in another episode, and take care.